tuning in to Painting Your Future with Cure for Bare Walls. I am fine artist Latanya Renee, and today I want to talk to you about why I walked away from my art career for almost 2 years. Okay, let's get right into it. For one, leading up to the time where I ended up just kind of calling it quits, there had been so much going on in my life in the prior years, from all types of loss, from a job loss, financial loss, divorce. I lost my home. I filed for bankruptcy. I was painting through all of these things. Actually, my business started during all of these things. And it was a really tough time because I had not been used to living off the income that I was living off of in a long time. And it has just been so long for me to recover and get back to a place where I wanted to be financially or even emotionally. And though I was in a good place spiritually, I was growing every day in my walk with the Lord, and He was definitely strengthening me through the process. It was just crazy hard. And it was unimaginable to sit through loss for that many years of not being able to recover. So I ended up, once I moved out of the home that I was living in for 7 years, it was the first home that I actually purchased. So just walking away from that for a new start, okay, I was open to it because I had to have a new beginning. So I moved into a 3-bedroom condo after just going through so much turmoil even to get to that place. Like, I was looking for a home during the Christmas and New Year's season, and that was one of the toughest times to even look for a home. The home met my needs. It was a 3-bedroom, and it even had a covered porch for me to be able to paint on. Or not just paint on, I'm sorry, my studio was in one room, but the covered porch would allow for me to do additional services and such as like my chemical spray painting and things of that nature. Okay, but the place was horrible. Like, the place itself was nice, but the living situation was horrible. I heard my neighbor snoring, so I slept in my bedroom possibly maybe 3 to 4 times out of the whole 13 months that I stayed there. That was a mess. So me not sleeping right, I had to sleep on my sofa basically for all that time. Eventually, I went into the bedroom after living there for about 9 or 10 months and got my mattress and put it in the living room. That was just a mess. The place was so loud. The people that he lived with, his family, they were always loud. It was like 5 people living there. The people upstairs from me, it was crazy. They were loud. It was just like the people over my neighbor, I can hear them. It was just so much for me to compete with on top of trying to build a business and do this thing full time. So eventually it got to a point where I finally got out of that lease. And I do have a full article on this on my blog. But I eventually got out of that lease and moved on after the lease was up. And I had to just pack up all of my things and move with a friend so I could find me a place. Well, this just didn't work out. I was looking for the right place, for the amount of rooms, the amount of spaces I needed to paint. That was not easy because I was just not moving Latanya Renee. I had to move a business. And at that time that I lived in that condo, and even to this point, I was doing a ministry blog where I was doing a lot of writing, devotionals. So I was considering all of these things that I had to find a home for. It was just not as simple as moving to over there and saying, let me set up my home. I had to move a business, and I had to have a particular setup, and it was just tough. So at the end of the day, I wasn't able to actually find the type of place that I needed to find. So I went back and found a 1-bedroom apartment. And this 1-bedroom happened to be the same community that I resided at when amazing things happened to me when I moved to Atlanta. I moved to this property before I purchased my home. And it was just the only thing that could remind me of home. I lived there for 4.5 years. The rent is much more expensive than when I lived there, but it was a great start. And when I moved there, I just said, forget it. I was so burned out. I wanted to just give up. I wasn't thinking about art. I was turned off from art. I was even upset with God because I'm like, I'm doing everything that you're asking me to do, and I'm fighting and struggling so I could have a place to do the business that you asked me to do, and do a ministry blog where I'm writing about the Lord and the goodness of what he has in store for us all, and what he's done for us. And I can't even find a place to set up shop. Like, why am I doing this for something you want me to do when I could just be in the apartment living good by myself? Okay, so that's what I did. And I just felt really, really, really betrayed by art. I'm just like, why am I fighting for something that no one obviously wants? And like I said, I have a full article describing what happened, how the financial thing even happened when I was doing well in 2014 with the art projects that I was taking on. And while I was even trying to find a place to break the lease and move out of the condo, the landlord was allowing me to leave early, but my business completely dried up. I didn't have any phone calls anymore, any more emails, and no sales. It just went completely dry and it never picked back up. So I was just over it anyway. Yeah, eventually I felt this thing once I started living my life. I'm just like, okay, yeah, I will just paint one day eventually. But I was over it for a minute. And I thought about it from time to time. And eventually, while working my day job that I had to get, that took me completely away from anything creative, I worked that job, and then eventually I went to get my things out of storage, and I kind of started rebuilding from there. But it still just wasn't anything. I'm in a 1-bedroom apartment where I don't have room for all of this art studio stuff, and it just wasn't like the best. But this is where things changed, and this is where all of my dreams came back full circle. And I decided to take on a fast in late August, early September, because it ended in September. And in that fast, I wanted to challenge myself to do that fast that I've wanted to do for years without any food. So all I had was tea, water with a little bit of honey, and I would put a little bit of apple juice in my 100% coconut water like once a day. And it was like organic apple juice. So I would drink that in the morning so my stomach wouldn't be so upset. And then at the end of the day, like to go to sleep, I had a little bit of tea, chamomile tea, with a little bit of honey in it and some cinnamon. That's all I ate for 15 days. So I didn't have any food. During that, I was able to clear out all of the clutter. I was able to hear myself think. I was able to get my thoughts in order. And I spent a lot of time praying, reading the Bible, just thinking, looking at motivational videos on YouTube, reading motivational things. And during that process, about 5 days in, it's just all these things kept coming to me, all these great and creative ideas, all these things that I could do to grow my business, other things that I can incorporate into my business. So I got the passion back, plus more, by taking a break. I don't regret that break because it has brought me to a place where I never would have been. These things that I'm doing now, I'm not even talking about like the video. I've actually set my business up completely the right way all the way around this time. And honestly, I had never completely done that. Like now I have an office. I have all my license and all my things that I'm supposed to have. I have insurance for my business to cover my art and all the things that I'm doing with my business. I'm doing things completely the right way now. And I thank God for giving me that break and giving me that hiatus, because now my business is growing. Now I see opportunities that I didn't see before. And now I can see a lot of things to help me sustain myself as a full-time artist this time around. So I hope that you don't give up on what it is that you're supposed to be doing. And if you've given up or just put it aside temporarily, get back up and do it again. Come up with a fresh perspective. Just let God renew and touch you so that you can be what you're called to be. Again, thank you so much for watching. This has been another episode of Painting Your Future with Cure for Bare Walls. Also, don't forget to follow us on social media and check us out for Cure for Bare Walls, where our art is about encouraging, motivating, and inspiring you to be your best. We have quotes, we have scriptures, abstracts, as well as subjects. Okay, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and comment below letting me know what you think about this video and how, if you've ever walked away from something and picked it back up again and what happened after you had that break from it. Thank you so much for watching again, and have a great day.